Ever notice how a leaf floats downstream? It doesn't fight the current, doesn't struggle against the flow, just rides the water, effortlessly reaching its destination. While all around it, other leaves thrash in battle, only to end up stuck against rocks or washed up on the banks. We've been sold a lie, my friends, a devastating lie that's cost us years of needless struggle. The lie that success must be painful, that achievement only counts if we're exhausted, burned out, and scarred from the fight. But what if I told you the hardest worker in the room isn't always the one who wins? What if the person who makes it look easy isn't lazy? They're brilliant. You see, there's a profound difference between motion and progress, between activity and achievement, between lifting heavy things and moving mountains. Let me share something with you that changed everything for me. Walking through a busy airport terminal, I watched two types of people: the runners, sprinting through the corridors, sweating, stressed, clutching their bags. And then there were the riders, standing calmly on the moving walkway, arriving at the same gate with time to spare, fresh and ready for their flight. Same destination, different journey, different results. This isn't about being passive, far from it. This is about being strategic, about understanding that the universe has currents, just like that river with the leaves. And those who learn to read these currents, to align themselves with the natural flow of opportunity, will always outperform those who believe success is merely about who works hardest. Think about water for a moment. When it meets an obstacle, it doesn't try to smash through. It doesn't get angry or frustrated. It simply finds another way. Around, under, through the cracks. Water reaches its destination not through force, but through persistence and adaptability. How many times have you pushed against the door marked to pull? We laugh about it, but isn't that exactly what we do in life? We force, we strain, we exhaust ourselves trying to make things happen when often the easiest path was right there, waiting to be discovered. But here's where it gets interesting. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have everything fall into their lap? Why opportunities seem to chase them while the rest of us chase opportunities? These people aren't lucky. They've mastered something far more powerful than luck. They've mastered position. Consider this: small rudder can steer a massive ship, not through force, but through positioning. Slight adjustment at the right moment can change everything. That's what we're talking about here. Not working harder, but positioning yourself better? You might be thinking, this sounds too good to be true. And you're right to be skeptical, because this isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing the right things at the right time, in the right way. When was the last time you felt like you were swimming upstream? When every step forward felt like pushing against a hurricane. That's not nobility. That's not virtue. That's misalignment. Success leaves clues. And one of the biggest clues is this: the most successful people aren't always the ones with the most impressive work ethic. They're the ones with the most impressive think ethic. They understand that preparation beats perspiration. That positioning beats pushing. That alignment beats aggression. Look at nature. A tree doesn't strain to grow. It doesn't force its way through the soil. It grows in accordance with natural laws. It turns toward the sun. It drops its roots where the water flows. It sways with the wind rather than standing rigid against it. But here's what most people miss. This kind of success requires something more challenging than hard work. It requires awareness. It requires patience. Most of all, it requires the courage to do things differently than everyone else. Society celebrates the hustle, the grind, the no sleep, no rest mentality. But what if that's just another form of gravity, another current we're fighting unnecessarily? Let me share a secret that the world's most effective people understand. An energy spent on positioning is never wasted. Time spent understanding the currents is never lost. Because once you're properly positioned, once you're aligned with the natural flow of opportunity, success becomes inevitable. Think about a master martial artist. They don't overpower their opponent with brute force. They use their opponent's energy against them. They transform resistance into assistance. That's what we're talking about here, becoming a master of momentum rather than a slave to struggle. But this raises an important question. If success can be achieved without lifting a finger, why isn't everyone doing it? Because it requires something most people aren't willing to give. Time to observe, time to understand. Most people are so busy being busy that they never stop to question whether they're busy with the right things. They're so focused on climbing the ladder that they never stop to check if their ladder is leaning against the right wall. It's a truth that might shake you. The most important work often looks like doing nothing. Sitting quietly, thinking deeply, observing carefully. These appear unproductive to the untrained eye. But this is where the real magic happens. This is where strategies are born, where opportunities are spotted, where positions of advantage are identified. Have you ever watched a cat before it pounces? It doesn't rush in. It doesn't strain or struggle. It watches, it waits, it positions itself perfectly. Then when the moment is right, it succeeds with minimal effort. That's what we're talking about here. Not laziness, not passivity, but rather a higher form of action, strategic action, aligned action, effortless action. But let me be clear about something. This path requires more discipline than the path of blind effort, because it's easier to stay busy than to stay focused. It's easier to work hard than to work smart. It's easier to follow the crowd than to find your own current. The paradox is this: to win without lifting a finger, you must first lift your consciousness. You must raise your awareness. You must elevate your understanding. Think about electricity. Before we understood it, we did everything the hard way. We carried water instead of pumping it. We walked instead of riding. We shouted instead of calling. But once we understood the laws of electricity, entire worlds of effortless achievement opened up. The same principle applies to success in any area of life. There are laws, there are currents, there are patterns, and once you understand them, you can achieve more with less effort. But here's the part that might surprise you. A path of effortless achievement is often the path of highest resistance. Not physical resistance, but mental resistance, because everything in our culture tells us that if it's easy, it can't be valuable. If it's effortless, it can't be meaningful. Let me ask you something. Does a flower struggle to bloom? Does a river struggle to flow? Does the sun struggle to shine? No. They succeed by being fully aligned with their nature and their purpose. Your task isn't to work harder than everyone else. Your task is to become so aligned with your nature and your purpose that success becomes natural, inevitable, effortless. But this brings us to a crucial question. How? How do we make this shift from effort to ease, from struggle to flow, from pushing to positioning? First, you must become a student of natural law. Observe how success happens in nature. Notice how achievement occurs in the universe. Look for the patterns. Study the principles. Second, you must develop patience. The kind of patience that looks like laziness to those who don't understand. The patience to wait for the right moment. The patience to let things develop naturally rather than forcing them prematurely. Third, you must cultivate awareness, not just of opportunities, but of currents. Not just of what's happening, but of what's about to happen. Not just of where things are, but of where they're going. Fourth, you must master the art of positioning, understanding that where you are is often more important than what you do. That being in the right place at the right time isn't luck, it's strategy. Fifth, and perhaps most importantly, you must develop the courage to be misunderstood. Because when you're winning without visible effort, people will question your methods. They'll doubt your commitment. They'll criticize your approach. Let them. Because here's what they don't understand. The highest form of achievement isn't about how much you can lift. It's about how much you can leverage. It's not about how hard you can work. It's about how smart you can work. Think about the difference between pushing a boulder uphill and letting it roll downhill. Same boulder, same distance, different approach, different results. That's what we're talking about here. Finding your downhill path, identifying your natural advantages, discovering where your unique talents align with universal currents. But let me warn you about something. This path requires tremendous self-trust, because when everyone else is running and you're walking, it takes confidence to know you're still going to win. When everyone else is pushing and you're positioning, It takes faith to know you're still going to succeed. The truth is, most people would rather fail conventionally than succeed unconventionally. They'd rather struggle and lose than flow and win, because at least then they have an excuse. At least then they can say they tried their hardest. But what if trying your hardest is actually trying too hard? What if the secret to unprecedented success isn't in doing more, but in doing different? Not in working harder, but in working smarter? Remember us. The universe rewards alignment more than effort. It rewards positioning more than pushing. It rewards strategy more than struggle. Your task isn't to become stronger than your challenges. It's to become smarter than your challenges. Not to overpower them, but to outposition them. Think about this. Every major breakthrough in human history came not from working harder, but from understanding better. Not from more effort, but from more insight. The person who invented the wheel didn't have stronger arms than everyone else. They had a better idea than everyone else. The person who discovered fire didn't have more energy than everyone else. They had more understanding than everyone else. This is the path we're talking about. The path of understanding over effort, of insight over intensity, of positioning over pushing. But here's the beautiful part. Once you understand these principles, once you align yourself with these currents, success becomes not just easier, it becomes inevitable. Because you're no longer fighting the universe, you're flowing with it. You're no longer pushing against the current. You're riding it. And that's when something magical happens. That's when you start winning without lifting a finger. Not because you're not doing anything, but because you're doing the right things. Not because you're not working, but because you're working with the universe instead of against it. This is your invitation to step off the treadmill of endless effort. Your invitation to discover the power of strategic positioning. Your invitation to achieve more by struggling less. Remember, the leaf that flows with the current reaches its destination just as surely as the one that fights against it. But it arrives fresh, unscathed, and ready for whatever comes next. That's the kind of success we're talking about. Not just reaching your goals, but reaching them with energy to spare. Not just achieving your dreams, but achieving them in a way that leaves you stronger, not weaker. The choice is yours. You can continue pushing against the current, celebrating your struggle as if it were a virtue. Or you can learn to read the currents, to position yourself strategically to achieve your goals with elegant efficiency. Because in the end, life isn't about who works hardest. It's about who works smartest. It's not about who lifts the most. It's about who leverages. Your future is waiting, not for more effort, not for more struggle, but for more alignment, for better positioning, for smarter strategy. And when you find that alignment, when you discover that positioning, when you implement that strategy, that's when you understand. That's when you'll experience it for yourself. The ultimate achievement, winning without lifting a finger. Not because you're doing nothing, but because you're doing what matters. Not because you're being passive, but because you're being strategic. This is your moment, your opportunity to step into a new way of achieving, a new way of succeeding, a new way of winning. The current is flowing. The opportunity is waiting. The path is clear. Are you ready to stop pushing and start positioning? To stop struggling and start strategizing? To stop working harder and start working smarter? The choice is yours. But remember, the universe rewards those who understand its laws, those who align with its currents, those who position themselves for inevitable success. Your time of unnecessary struggle is over. Your era of elegant achievement is about to begin. Welcome to the art of winning without lifting a finger. The real question isn't whether this approach works. The real question is, are you ready to work differently than everyone else? To succeed differently than everyone else? To win differently than everyone else? Because once you understand these principles, once you align with these currents, once you master this positioning, everything changes. Not gradually, not eventually, immediately. The struggle ends. The flow begins, and winning becomes not just possible, but inevitable. This is your moment, your opportunity, your invitation to step into a new way of achieving. The current is flowing. The position is waiting. The victory is ready. Are you? Consider the bamboo tree. For years, it appears to do nothing. No visible growth, no apparent progress. Just a tiny shoot barely breaking through the soil. People walk past and see failure. They see wasted effort. They see nothing happening. But beneath the surface, something magnificent is taking place. The bamboo is building an elaborate root system. It's positioning itself for explosive growth. And then, in its 5th year, something remarkable happens. The bamboo shoots up 90 feet in just 6 weeks. Now let me ask you, did the bamboo grow 90 feet in 6 weeks? Or did it grow 90 feet in 5 years? The answer changes everything about how we view success. Most people want to be the bamboo in those final 6 weeks. They want the visible growth, the dramatic progress, the obvious success. But they're not willing to be the bamboo in those first 5 years. They're not willing to build the root system. They're not willing to do the invisible work. This is what winning without lifting a finger really means. It doesn't mean success without preparation. It means success without struggle. It doesn't mean achievement without effort. It means achievement without resistance. Look around you. Right now, in this room, opportunities are flowing like currents in the ocean. Possibilities are swirling like winds in the atmosphere. Success is vibrating like electricity in the wall. But most people are too busy struggling to notice. Too focused on lifting heavy things to see the lever that would lift them effortlessly. Too committed to their complicated plans to see the simple solution. Have you ever watched an expert locksmith? They don't force the lock, they don't struggle with it, they listen to it, feel it, understand it, and then with a gentle touch, they open what others couldn't break with a sledgehammer. That's mastery, that's positioning, that's winning without lifting a finger. But here's what most people miss. The locksmith spent years developing that touch. Years trained their ears to hear what others miss. Years learning to feel what others ignore. The final action might be effortless, but the preparation was anything but. This is your moment decision. Will you be the one who pushes against the current, celebrating your struggle as a badge of honor? Or will you be the one who studies the current, understanding its patterns, aligning with its flow, and achieving more with less effort? Will you be the one who tries to break down every door you encounter? Or will you be the one who learns to find the hidden key, the secret lever, the elegant solution that makes forcing unnecessary? Choice is yours. But remember, it doesn't celebrate struggle. It celebrates success. The flower that blooms isn't admired for how hard it tried, but for how fully it opened. The river that flows isn't praised for its effort, but for its journey. Your success will be measured the same way. Not by how hard you worked, but by what you achieved. Not by how much you lifted, but by how far you moved. So, let go of the struggle. Release the need to prove your worth through your effort. Embrace the power of positioning, the magic of alignment, the brilliance of strategic action. Because when you do, something extraordinary happens. The very forces that seem to oppose you begin to support you. The obstacles that blocked your path become the stepping stones that lead to your success. The resistance that held you back transforms into the current that carries you forward. This is your time, your moment, your opportunity to step into a new way of achieving, a new way of succeeding, a new way of winning. Not through force, but through flow. Not through struggle, but through strategy. Not through lifting fingers, but through leveraging forces. The universe is waiting. Success is waiting. Your extraordinary life is waiting. Are you ready to win without lifting a finger? Are you ready to succeed without struggling? Are you ready to achieve without exhaustion? Then start now, right here, right in this moment. Stop pushing against the current of your life and start paying attention to where it's trying to take you. Stop fighting against your natural talents and start flowing with them. Stop trying to force success and start positioning yourself for it. Because the truth is, you don't need more strength. You need more strategy. You don't need more effort. You need more alignment. You don't need more struggle. You need more understanding. This is the art of winning without lifting a finger. This is the science of effortless achievement. This is the truth about success that nobody talks about. And now you know it. Now you understand it. Now you can use it. The only question that remains is, the current is flowing. The position is perfect. The time is now. Your extraordinary life is waiting. And it won't require a finger to be lifted, just a mind to be shifted, a perspective to be transformed, a strategy to be implemented. Welcome to your new way of winning. Welcome to your new way of achieving. Welcome to your new way of succeeding. The struggle is optional. The success is inevitable. Choose wisely. You see, we're standing at a crossroads, not just in this room, but in the story of human achievement. For too long, we've celebrated the struggle more than the success. We've honored the exhaustion more than the achievement. We've praised the pain more than the progress. But what if that entire paradigm is backwards? What if we've been reading the success map upside down all this time? Think about how water carved the Grand Canyon. Not through force, not through struggle, but through consistent, aligned action, through perfect positioning, through understanding and working with natural laws rather than against them. That canyon wasn't carved in a day. It wasn't carved through effort. It was carved through positioning, through patience, through persistence, through perfect alignment with natural forces. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. You are the water. Your goals are the canyon. And the path between them isn't about force. It's about flow. Every person who ever achieved something extraordinary understood this truth. They might not have been able to articulate it. They might not have been able to explain it. But they lived it. They understood that success isn't about pushing harder than everyone else. It's about positioning better than everyone else. It's not about working longer than everyone else. It's about working smarter than everyone else. Right now, in this moment, you have a choice. You can continue on the path of struggle, celebrating your exhaustion as if it were achievement. Or you can step onto the path of strategic success, celebrating your results rather than your effort. The universe doesn't care how hard you work. It only cares about what you achieve. Nature doesn't reward effort. It rewards results. So let today be the day you stop pushing and start positioning, the day you stop struggling and start strategizing, the day you stop working harder and start working smarter. Because here's the truth. The greatest achievements in human history didn't come from lifting fingers. They came from lifting consciousness. They didn't come from physical force. They came from mental focus. Your power isn't in your fingers. It's in your mind. Your strength isn't in your muscles. It's in your strategy. So let go of the struggle. Release the resistance. Embrace the flow. Your extraordinary life isn't waiting for more effort. It's waiting for better alignment. It's not waiting for more struggle. It's waiting for smarter strategy. The time for unnecessary effort is over. The era of strategic success has begun. And you're ready to succeed without struggling, ready to achieve without exhausting, ready to win without lifting a finger, because now you understand, now you know, now you see the path to extraordinary achievement isn't paved with exhaustion. It's paved with alignment. It's not marked by struggle. It's marked by strategy. This is your moment, your time, your opportunity. The current is flowing. The position is perfect. The strategy is clear. Your extraordinary life is waiting. And it won't require a finger to be lifted, just a mind to be shifted, a perspective to be transformed, a strategy to be implemented. Welcome to your new way of winning. Welcome to your new way of achieving. Welcome to your new way of succeeding. The struggle was optional. The success is inevitable. Now go forth and win. Not through force, but through flow. Not through struggle, but through strategy. Not through lifting fingers, but through leveraging wisdom. Your time is now. Your path is clear. Your success is inevitable. Welcome to the art of winning without lifting a finger. The end is just the beginning, and your beginning starts now.